Because I married a divorced woman with children, I was kicked out of the house by my wealthy parents. 3 years later, my parents couldn't persuade me anymore and agreed to let me take my wife home. Unexpectedly, she was having sex with another man in our bed. After being discovered, she proudly hugged the man's neck. Did you see the Rolls-Royce downstairs? 8 million is enough to buy your life, poor bastard. Looking at the familiar car, I decisively signed the divorce agreement. The fun starts right away. If you like it, remember to click to subscribe. Just after graduating from college, my parents kicked me out of the house because I married a divorced woman with children. 3 years. Just this afternoon, I received a call from my mother, asking me to bring my wife Sophia and her child with her ex-husband home to visit her. With excitement, I took the last bus back home. I opened the door carefully, afraid of disturbing Sophia and stepson Mark who were sleeping. Even though this was the earliest time I got off work in the past month, I got home at 10 p.m. I thought the bedroom would be quiet, but I heard the screams of a man and a woman. The rhythm is ups and downs. Adults can tell what happened as soon as they hear it. I suddenly felt as if I was struck by lightning, and my steps felt heavy as if they were filled with lead. Is it exciting enough that we've done it on my husband's bed? It's exciting. It will be even more exciting if your husband comes back later. This was a male voice I had never heard before. Hearing the man's reply, Sophia became even more coquettish. Brother David, you promised me that if I took you home, you would take me on your private yacht. Does it still count? The man pressed himself against Sophia anxiously and replied without hesitation, it counts, of course it counts. In order to give Sophia and her son a good life, I worked overtime day and night and was reluctant to drink even a bottle of $8 beer. Every month, her salary of 30,000 yuan would be transferred to her card without fail. Only leave 300 yuan for myself to live on. But she was having an affair with someone else behind my back. Just to ride on some shitty private yacht. Who am I? A joke? I kicked the door open and glared at the adulterous couple. Get out of this house. Sophia didn't think I would be able to go home early today, and she was so scared that she quickly got dressed. Hubby, I do this all for you. I'm with Brother David because I feel bad for you and don't want to see you suffer so much. What a ridiculous statement. Over the past 3 years, Sophia has used my salary to buy herself luxury bags and brand-name skincare products. He owns LV, Chanel, and La Mer, but he didn't even buy me a pair of socks. You still have the nerve to say that you feel sorry for me. Considering the fact that she saved my life before, I didn't want to do anything to Sophia. I pushed Sophia aside and punched David in the face. In an instant, blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. David stopped pulling his pants and said, "Do you know who I am? If you dare to attack me, you will regret it. I don't care who you are." Another punch hit him and David immediately fell to the ground, unable to move. To deal with a weak and fragile dog like him, I couldn't even use 50% of my strength. Sophia stood in front of him anxiously. "Michael, I advise you to apologize quickly. Brother David is the prince of Michael's family group. If we offend him, we will suffer the consequences." The prince of Michael's family group? I couldn't help laughing out loud. My parents only gave birth to me as a son, so how come I didn't know I had a brother like this? Yes. Sophia said firmly. See that Rolls-Royce downstairs? 8 million is enough to buy your life, poor bastard. The relationship has already been torn apart, and Sophia is too lazy to pretend. When David stood up, Sophia hugged his neck and rested her head on his chest. Woo woo woo. Brother David, you've seen it too. My husband is a domestic violence man. If you leave me alone, he will beat me to death. David was punched twice by me and he was gritting his teeth in hatred. Good boy, why would I ignore you? From today on, you are my official lover. Sophia jumped up excitedly. Really? Can I really be your official lover? David nodded affirmatively. Sophia shouted outside, Son, bring the divorce agreement here quickly. We will soon be able to get rid of this poor bee and live a good life. Stepson Mark ran in with a fat body. He is only 9 years old, 1.4 meters tall, and weighs more than 180 kilograms. Circles of fat piled up on his body swayed with his steps. The doctor said that being too obese can lead to high blood lipids, high blood sugar, diabetes, and even precocious puberty, which will affect his growth. Over the past 3 years, I have taken him out for running whenever I have free time. Mark, however, had many complaints against me. After he came in, he looked at me proudly and said, Mom, then I finally don't have to lose weight. Very good. Sophia took the divorce agreement from him and handed it to me. It's your honor to have shared a woman with Brother David. Since you are so ungrateful, let's get a divorce. Sign it quickly, don't delay Yang and I from having a good life. Sophia urged me on, her face full of longing, as if she would soon own a mountain of gold and silver. Divorce, of course. But I still have a question. When I was trapped in an alley by some thugs, Sophia rushed over to save me without hesitation. Later, she herself said that she was willing to marry me even if I had nothing. Why, you suddenly became so materialistic? Unless, she had ulterior motives when she saved me. If you want me to agree to a divorce, you have to tell me why you saved me in the first place. Sophia looked at me disdainfully and laughed. If it weren't for the fact that the clothes you wear every day are so expensive, with a coat costing tens of thousands, who would be willing to save you? I didn't expect that you rented all your clothes and couldn't even afford a wedding. In order to marry her, I gave up my luxurious life and went against my parents. Unexpectedly, what she loved was my few rags of clothes, and she never loved me at all. I don't even like your little shabby house. After all, you are not David's brother, who has dozens of villas. For the sake of our 3 years of marriage, if you sign now, I can leave it to you. Sophia is so proud of herself now. I wonder how desperate she was when she found out that David was a fake rich man. I signed the divorce papers cleanly. After watching David drive away with Sophia and her son in my Rolls-Royce, I called the housekeeper. Check who used my car. Sophia was wrong about one thing. 8 million is just the factory price of that Rolls-Royce. The audio equipment and supporting facilities inside were all selected by me personally, and cost me 2 million. I also spent hundreds of thousands to change the color of the exterior. Therefore, I only took a glance downstairs and recognized that this was the car I had left idle in the garage because it was too noisy. The butler quickly found out, "Master, it's the driver's son, David." David? In order to impersonate me, he even gave up his own last name. You really work hard. Okay, take back all my car keys and don't alert the enemy. Before Sophia and I go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get our divorce certificate, let David be David for a few more days. When my dad heard that I was going to divorce Sophia, he happily restored my frozen black card. And just like that, I returned to Michael's family. On July 11th, my mother asked me to represent Michael's family to attend a charity dinner, which would give me a good opportunity to show myself in front of all the celebrities from wealthy families. I went in with the invitation my mother gave me, only to find David and Sophia in the middle of the hall. A group of people surrounded them and fawned on them. When Sophia saw me, she was very excited. "What are you doing here, poor guy? This kind of high-class occasion is not the place for you to come." David shouted, "Security, get this man out of here." Everyone in the audience looked towards me. A man in a grey haute couture suit said to David in a flattering tone, "Brother David, my name is Christopher, and today's dinner is hosted by my family. How did this person offend you?" David looked at me with disdain. "I wouldn't say I'm offended, but a poor loser like him doesn't deserve to be in the same place with me." The man looked at me and quickly agreed, "Brother David is right. I don't even know him. He must have sneaked in over the wall." Because today's dinner was to raise funds for children in poor mountainous areas, I didn't dress up like them. I just wore a simple t-shirt and jeans and went out. I didn't expect that they would treat me as a pauper. The security guard carried me and was about to leave. I pulled out my mother's invitation from my pocket. It was the wife of the president of Michael Family Group who asked me to come here. I was afraid that Sophia would pester me if I revealed my identity, so I didn't tell them that I was the heir to Michael's family group. Sophia snatched my invitation and took a look at it. "Brother David, is this true?" David's forehead was covered with sweat. "I don't know either." Christopher took the invitation and took a look at it. "It's true. Who are you?" I made up an identity. "I am Mrs. Michael's nephew." Sophia covered her mouth and laughed so hard that her body shook. "You are the nephew of the wife of the president of Michael Family Group. How come I didn't know that?" David didn't know whether it was true or not, so he didn't dare to say anything. Sophia tore the invitation into pieces. "Everyone, this liar is my ex-husband, Michael. He is just a poor wage earner and has nothing to do with Michael's family group. I guess he found Mrs. Michael's invitation from somewhere and wanted to eat and drink for free at the party." After she finished speaking, everyone looked at me with disdain. How can someone be so poor? How shameless. Christopher brought a plate of small cakes and pressed it on my face. "Don't you like to eat and drink for free? Eat." Cream and cake crumbs were all over my face. Seeing me being bullied, Sophia clapped her hands happily. There were bursts of laughter from the crowd. I wiped the cream off my face and resisted the urge to hit someone. "I have a call for Mrs. Michael. If you don't believe me, I can call her now to prove my identity." As I said that, I called my mother. Christopher's face flashed with panic. Brother David, what he said can't be true. Before David could speak, Sophia immediately responded, that's fake, David doesn't even know him. He's a liar. After receiving the reply, Christopher returned to his arrogant self. You're a swindler, and you dare to deceive me. Security, hold him down. Christopher took my phone away and kicked me in the back again and again. I curled up in pain. I am the son of the president of Michael Family Group. This David is fake. Can anyone who knows President Michael or Mrs. Michael please help make a call? When David heard this, his eyes lit up. I had been in the Michael family for so many years. If you were Michael, wouldn't I be clear about it? He dares to pretend to be me, come on, beat him to death. At David's command, everyone present rushed forward. You kick me, I slap you. He is so poor that he even dares to pretend to be the prince of Michael's family group. I learned Taekwondo for a few years, but they were outnumbered. I was beaten so badly that my face was bruised and I couldn't even lift my hands. It was the kind-hearted waiter who helped call the police that put an end to the farce. In fact, I am not the only child in Michael's family. Before me, my mother gave birth to an older brother. However, this brother was killed by kidnappers and died when he was less than 5 years old. Later, after my parents gave birth to me, they were very careful and didn't dare let others know my specific name and appearance. Everyone only knows that the president of Michael Family Group and his wife have such a son, and no other information is known. A few years ago, my father threatened to cut off relations with me because of Sophia. This is also the reason why David dared to drive my car and impersonate me openly. After returning home, I told my father, hoping that he could make my identity public and allow me to intern in his company. Unexpectedly, my dad got furious. Have you forgotten how your brother died? You can join the company, but start from the grassroots level. Don't even think about revealing your identity. Wait until you've achieved something. I know very well that my father is right. Revealing my identity to the public would embarrass Sophia and David, but it would also make me lose a great training opportunity. Moreover, there is still half a month of cooling-off period. I don't know what Sophia will do when she finds out my true identity. After calming down, I decided to endure it for the time being. Under my father's arrangement, I entered a small workshop of my company and became a worker on the assembly line. Unexpectedly, I met Sophia and David here again. David is actually the supervisor of my workshop. Everyone calls him President Michael. A worker on the assembly line gossiped with me. You know, President David is actually from the David family. What? Someone actually knows David's true identity. I became interested. How did you know? President Michael said so himself. He is the only son of our president. Because his brother was kidnapped and killed, his parents changed his last name. So, his name on his ID card is David. I was completely confused after hearing this. David was so shameless in trying to cover up his lies. But I wasn't going to expose him. Because it's not time yet. As we were talking, David walked in with Sophia. David monopolizes the position of production supervisor and orders everyone around. He turned a good factory into a mess. None of them work properly, but only think about forming cliques and bragging about their wealth. He also arranged a position for Sophia as a warehouse manager. The two men did nothing every day but wandered around the factory like an emperor on patrol. Sophia was walking and broadcasting live, everyone please follow me and send me a little heart. Sophia will give you a thermos cup worth $499 for free. The Michael Family Group is involved in various industries, and our factory is responsible for the export of high-end thermos bottles. The cost of a water cup is not low. There are tens of thousands of people in the live broadcast room. I couldn't stand it anymore. You used the factory's thermos cups as a gift. Did you get the factory director's permission? Sophia was stunned. Why are you here again? Brother David is the president's son. The entire group will belong to him in the future. What's wrong with me sending a few thermos cups? The workers also followed suit. That's right. President Michael has the final say in our factory. It's not the factory manager's turn to make the decision. You're new here, don't break our rules. Seeing my own factory being ruined like this, I was so angry that I quickly found the factory manager. The factory manager was a middle-aged man in his 40s with a bald head and a big belly. When I walked into the factory manager's office, he was chatting with a female anchor on the computer he used to play basketball at work. When he saw me barging in wearing ordinary worker's clothes, he slammed the table loudly. You are from that workshop, do you know the rules? Don't you know how to knock on the door? I ignored his question. It doesn't matter which workshop I'm in. Did you know that Sophia used the factory's thermos cup as a welfare gift? I know, so what? She's the lover of the group's prince. What can I do to her? It would be fine if the workers just blindly flattered him, but it is unexpected that the person in charge of such a large factory is so ignorant. I narrowed my eyes and snorted coldly, "Are you sure David is the prince of Michael's family group?" The factory manager blurted out, "Of course. Where's the evidence? Where did you get it from?" He was assigned by the higher-ups, and he drives a luxury car worth millions to work every day. Besides, he admitted it himself. How could this be false? Okay. There are also people helping David impersonate me. Watch how I catch them one by one. I announced to the public that I heard that the president of Michael Family Group bought his son a large villa worth 300 million in the city center as a wedding house for his future marriage. Before long, the workers who got along well with David started clamoring to go to the villa to broaden their horizons. Sophia, in particular, was immediately excited when she heard the news. "Brother David, I am now your official lover. Can I stay at your villa for 2 days?" Under the adulation of everyone, David got excited and agreed without thinking. "I'm on holiday at the end of the month. I'm having a party at my villa. Come and have fun. Michael, you come too. Let me show you a little more." Sophia got a satisfactory answer, and the corners of her mouth couldn't help but rise. "Brother David, you are so kind. He's a country bumpkin. What if he makes your villa dirty?" "It's okay, there's a nanny in the villa. The cleaning fee will be deducted from this bumpkin's salary." David agreed readily, without realizing that he had fallen into my trap. As the end of the month approached, the cooling-off period for Sophia and I's divorce ended. Sophia called me and urged me to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to pick it up. After getting the divorce certificate, she threatened me in a condescending manner. "It's such a disgrace to be married to you. If you see me in the factory from now on, take a detour and don't tell anyone that you are my ex-husband, okay? Otherwise, I'll let Brother David break your legs." Haha. I was too lazy to pay attention to such an idiot as her, so I turned around and left without looking back. At the end of the month, it's time for workers to take a holiday. I specifically asked the housekeeper to put the key in an unlocked drawer. After David stole the key, he invited everyone to my villa for a party. As soon as he entered, he got lost and couldn't even find the living room. Someone questioned quietly, could David be a fake heir to the group? How come he can't even find his own living room? However, his doubts were quickly countered by David's dog. "What do you know? Brother David has so many villas that he can't even count them. It's normal that he can't remember where the living room is. You thought it was your small, shabby house of a few dozen square meters." With my guidance, David finally found the location. A group of people were looking at the entire wall of wine cabinet and red wine in the living room and making sounds of admiration. "Wow, so much red wine, it must be very valuable." Sophia acted like a hostess. "Brother David, you have so much red wine here, open 2 bottles for them to taste. It saves some people from having to drink such expensive wine in their lifetime." David obviously knew that these red wines were very valuable and was a little hesitant. But he only hesitated for a few seconds. Drink as much as you want." With David's call, everyone flocked over. Soon, everyone had a bottle of red wine in their hands. These are all collected from abroad. The cheapest one costs 100,000 yuan a bottle. I felt a little distressed. "David, are you sure they won't get into any trouble if they drink this red wine?" David said in a friendly manner, "It won't be a problem. Just drink it and I'll take care of anything that happens. Michael, please stop drinking. It ruins my mood again and again." As soon as these words came out, another lackey came up and said, "Brother David, let us help you get him out." David waved his hand and said, "It's okay. Let him watch here and see how rich people live." "Okay, let them drink if they want. The more you drink, the more you lose." A group of people ran to the kitchen and dug out a pile of wine glasses. "You toast me, I toast you." After a while, many people were drunk. "Brother David, do you have anything valuable?" Let everyone open their eyes. It was also David's first time at the villa and he had no idea where anything was. But he didn't want others to see it. "There are a lot of valuable things, go find them yourself." "I found it. I'll take you there." As the focal person, David was given the most alcohol. At this moment, there were 2 blushes on her face. Obviously, he was drunk. "I called the police half an hour ago. For some unknown reason, the police haven't arrived yet." I remembered that I had some valuable antiques in my study, and I became a little anxious. Those jade carvings and blue and white porcelain were all collected by me during my college years. They are so priceless that they are out of stock. Many of them are one-of-a-kind pieces. If it got damaged, I would be heartbroken. Thinking the police would be here soon, I stopped them. David is not the son of the president of some downtown group. His father is just a driver for Michael's family. If you really move anything in this villa, you'll be taken to jail when the police come. David's good friend William, relying on his big body, knocked me to the ground and said, "What are you talking about? Our brother David is a genuine rich man. He can crush you to death with just a flick of his finger. Who do you think you are to slander him?" Yeah, those who benefited from David echoed, "The grapes are sour." Sophia came over in high heels, angrily, "Brother David asked you to come to the villa to give you face. Don't be ungrateful." As she spoke, she led her fellow workers forward. "Everyone feel free to look through them. I can give you any that I don't like." Those workers were jumping up and down in the villa like monkeys. Soon, William found the location of the study. He picked out a few jade carvings from my collection and said, "Brother David, can you give me these?" David could see that these jade carvings were very valuable and were definitely not something that could be bought for just a few $1,000,000. He looked embarrassed and didn't know what to say. Sophia came over following the smell. "William, this is not a very decent thing to do. I'm David's brother's lover, so if you want to take it, you should let me choose first." "Give me." William was unwilling to give up the treasure he had obtained. Under the influence of alcohol, the two were inseparable. The jade carving fell to the ground, making a crisp cracking sound. Everyone held their breath. David sobered up and said, "What are you doing? Do you know how expensive this thing is?" William said awkwardly, "Brother David, didn't you tell us to take it as we please?" Just then, the police pushed the door open. "Who called the police?" I walked up to the police and said, "Hello, I'm the one who called the police. These people broke into my villa and drank a lot of my red wine, probably worth 4 or 5 million. Also, these two people smashed my antique jade carving. I bought it at an auction for 10 million yuan. There is a transaction record." My coworkers didn't believe me and looked at David. "Brother David, what's going on?" David insisted, "Officer, this house is mine, and these things are mine too. I am the son of the president of the Michael family group. If you don't believe me, you can confront the driver of the Michael family." In front of the police, I took out the property certificate from my bag and said, "He is the son of our driver. He has been pretending to be me and swindling people." After checking the property certificate and ID card, the police said to me with a smile, "Don't worry, we will do our job impartially and investigate thoroughly." After the police finished speaking, David realized that I was the real son of the president of Michael family group, and he immediately knelt in front of me. "Master, I was wrong. Please, for the sake of my father driving your family for so many years, let me go." He also wanted to distance himself from the matter. They drank this wine. Sophia broke the jade carving. "It has nothing to do with me." The police would not listen to his explanation and handcuffed him without hesitation. "The rest of you should come with us to the police station and find out how much you need to pay." After hearing this, the workers present rushed up and started beating David up, regardless of the presence of the police. "It was you who told us to drink that wine, so you should pay for it." There were too many people and the police couldn't pull them apart. Seeing that the police had no time to pay attention to her, Sophia knelt on the ground and hugged my legs. "Michael, it's all David's fault for seducing me. Please forgive me just this once. From now on, I will live a good life with you and never look for another man." I pulled my legs out with all my strength. "You are a promiscuous woman. You just go after others when you know they have money. Are you worthy? I had to be blind to like you. Now, get out of here as far as you can." When the police came to drag her away, she screamed like crazy, "I am Michael's daughter-in-law, the young lady of Michael's family group. You can't take me away. It's too late to regret." She forced me to get the divorce certificate. David stole the key and broke into a private house, so he was held primarily responsible for the damage in my villa and was ordered to pay 20 million in compensation. David's father, a veteran who had worked in our family for 30 years, knew that my mother was easily influenced, so he went to her and begged her. My parents didn't know what David had done to me, and they advised me to forgive him. I lifted my sleeves, revealing the bruises that had not yet completely faded. "This is all caused by David. Not only did he pretend to be me and cheat people outside, he also teamed up with Dad's mortal enemy to deal with our family. As early as when I was in the factory, I had already found out that it was my father's archenemy Robert who arranged David to work in the factory. He is the second largest shareholder after my father. Robert arranged for many people to enter the management level to disrupt the production of various factories and allow substandard products to enter the market. If his plan succeeds, my dad will most likely have to give up his position as president. During these days in the factory, I have been trying every possible way to collect evidence. The recordings and materials in hand are enough to prove the illegal acts Robert did behind the scenes. When it comes to the interests of the company, my parents are no longer soft-hearted. David's father was fired. Because David could not afford to pay the huge sum of $20 million, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. All the RVs under his name were taken by the court to pay off debts. Because of my reminder, the company recalled the unqualified products and avoided huge losses. My dad thinks I'm doing a good job and plans to slowly hand over the group to me. Sophia and William were ordered to bear half of the loss of the jade carving each and pay me $5 million in compensation each. Sophia was unable to pay back the money, so she refused to leave my door and kept asking to see me. I asked the security guard to chase him away, but unexpectedly the security guard brought back some unexpected news. Sophia is pregnant. She insisted that the child was mine. Michael, David, and I were well prepared before we went to bed. This child is 100% yours. Please forgive me for the sake of the baby in my belly. I will definitely help you take care of the children and manage Michael's family in the future. The children born to this kind of woman will most likely be raised to be as stupid and selfish as she is. I don't want this child. You beat the child, so you don't have to pay the $5 million. I will give you some extra compensation. Sophia leaned against me in a pretentious manner. I won't fight. This is the fruit of our love. It must be God's will that we two remarry, so he sent this child. Seeing that I wasn't buying it, she started to threaten me. You don't want a child, but doesn't your mother want a grandchild? I've already seen a doctor and it's a boy. When I give birth, you will have to recognize me even if you don't want to. She cried to my mother and I couldn't stop her. Mom, Michael has such a cruel heart. I'm pregnant with your Michael family's grandson, and he actually wants me to have the fight. My mother is not the kind of old person who would do anything to have a grandchild. Besides, she hated Sophia. Butler, kick this woman out. I get annoyed when I see her. After Sophia was kicked out of my house, I decided that she could have the baby if she wanted. After birth, do a DNA test. The child is mine, and I will not give her less than a penny of child support. Sophia doesn't have to pay back the $5 million she owes me. But if she wants to have her child join my Michael family, that's impossible. I don't want to be reminded of Sophia's disgusting face every time I see my child. If you want to blame someone, blame him for not having a responsible mother. My mother also agreed with my decision. Unexpectedly, Sophia was still not satisfied with this plan and exposed the matter to the internet. In the live broadcast room, Sophia put on pale makeup and deliberately wore tattered clothes. She placed the ultrasound report on her chest. Michael, the son of the president of the Michael family group, abandoned his wife and children and asked me to abort the baby. Please, everyone, help me. Mark, who weighs 180 pounds, was also wiping tears. Dad, how can I live without you? Because of the labels of Michael family group and my father, the live broadcast attracted countless viewers as soon as it started. When everyone saw Sophia crying, they rushed to our group's official account and started cursing at her without thinking. The CEO's son is really amazing. He abandoned his wife and children and forced someone to have an abortion. I suggest a joint boycott of Michael's family group. Don't buy any of their products. Under the siege of netizens, our group's stock price plummeted. My dad was so angry that he was admitted to the hospital. My mother and I were stuck at home and didn't dare go out. Sophia called me and said, if you weren't so heartless, I wouldn't have posted these things online. If you agree to remarry me, I will tell reporters and netizens that we were just a couple quarreling and there was a misunderstanding. How about it? What a nice thought. I originally wanted to give her a chance to live, but she insisted on committing suicide. Don't blame me for being rude. I also feel that what I did was too heartless. How about this? I will hold an apology press conference for you. Sophia has a gut that connects her to her brain. Okay. As soon as the news that I was going to hold an apology meeting was released, paparazzi and reporters moved from my door to the group building. I had been waiting for a long time when Sophia and Mark arrived. Sophia came close to me and held my hand. Honey, I know you can't bear to leave me and the child. Mark also called me Dad. I raised the microphone and said, everyone, welcome to the apology meeting of Michael Family Group. Today, I want to sincerely apologize to one person. Before I could finish, Sophia answered with tears in her eyes, honey, I forgive you. Flashes of light came from all directions. I slowly said, that person is me. If you want to know the reason, please look at the big screen. The curtain lit up and the surveillance video began to play. The voices of Sophia and David echoed in the lobby, which was unbearable to hear. Although there was no footage of the two having an affair, everything was clear from the sound. It was the man Sophia was forcing me to divorce her, not me abandoning her. Two girls who had worked with Sophia for a long time came out to testify. Sophia told us that the baby in her belly is David's. She told us some time ago that she wanted to give birth to the child and then force us to marry into a wealthy family. If Sophia hadn't made such a big fuss, I probably wouldn't have gone to these people at all. The reporters were furious when they realized they were being used as a tool by Sophia. Shameless bitch, she cheated on her husband and still has the nerve to go online and complain about her misery. She must be mentally ill. The spotlight was on Sophia, and she looked around, her eyes filled with anxiety and fear. When public opinion had fermented enough, I spoke again. Before today, I didn't know whose baby Sophia was carrying. As a man, I don't think I should take things too far. I wanted to wait until the baby was born before making a decision. But from what you have seen, this woman is not only ungrateful but also blames others for her mistakes. I will hire a lawyer to sue her for defamation on behalf of Michael's family group and me. Suddenly, a rotten egg flew past me and hit Sophia in the face. These things were meant to hit Michael. I didn't expect that you, a bitch, wouldn't tell the truth in anything you said. What followed were cabbage leaves, water cups, writing pens, and even benches. The angry audience threw everything they could at Sophia. Mark saw that something was wrong and ran away, holding the fat on his belly with his hands. When a reporter chased him, he said, "It was my mother who lied, not me. What does it have to do with me?" Sophia was so frightened that her legs went limp, and she wanted Mark to run with her. Unexpectedly, her good son turned a deaf ear to her calls. A pool of blood flowed from her leg. Every month, her salary of 30,000 yuan would be transferred to her card without fail. Then Sophia covered her stomach and yelled, "Michael, I was wrong, please save me, save my child." I nodded to the assistant beside me, and he quickly dialed 120. "If you want to die, don't let our company die. It's bad luck." After Sophia was taken to the hospital by ambulance, the baby was not saved and half of her uterus was removed. Netizens were flooding Sophia with insults, and even the nurses in the hospital couldn't help but point fingers at Sophia. Sophia held her head all day and was mentally disturbed. "Don't scold me, I'm not Sophia. I'm not lying." In the middle of the night, Sophia stole the old lady's phone next door and called me. "Michael, I'm so scared. Take me away, please." "Good for your mother, idiot." Before I finished cursing, the old lady's voice came from the other side, someone is stealing my phone." 2 weeks later, Sophia had recovered enough to be discharged from the hospital, and I called the police station. The police took her away on charges of damaging other people's property. Like David, she will suffer in prison for the rest of her life. Mark's biological father was a lazy old man who lost all his money in business and hid in the mountains. The police found Sophia's parents and brother, hoping they could raise Mark. They waved their hands. "His mother has brought shame to our family and she still wants me to raise her son. Let him go." Mark was eventually sent to an orphanage. "I heard that if you don't sweep for half a month, you will lose 20 pounds. After the apology meeting, my father handed the company over to me. Thanks to my efforts, the company is thriving. Those who had bullied me together with David, such as Christopher, were severely suppressed by Michael's family group. No one dared to question my identity anymore.